I gotta admit, I was not a believer. I didn't understand the hype. I thought it's kind of overblown. But now I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see how much the world is going to change as AI takes over. Specifically in my field, again, I've been doing this I'm coming on 12 years now. Next February is going to be, 12 years on my main channel. It's my first YouTube channel ever. First YouTube channel ever was 2007, January 1st, 2007. So I don't even want to do the math there. 17 years? Holy crap. So I'm really looking at this from that perspective because this is what I do. And honestly, this is what I would hope to do, at least have at least a foot or 2 feet inside of the YouTube field for as long as I possibly can. And I'm starting to see already how much AI is going to change for creators and how much it will change the audience as well and how you guys view things. First of all, right off the bat, something that I've began to notice is there's now this new trend of kind of letting AI come up with your YouTube title and tags. That is a feature that I've been experimenting with, and I feel like I know when other creators are letting AI do it as well. This is just such a small aspect of it because like there's literally AI created content now that's now being uploaded to YouTube. And I'm not talking about those like weird, creepy AI videos of like whatever fake trailers or something like that. I mean, you're talking about like entire scripts being written by AI, things like that. I'm just talking about like how AI will change, how AI is already a tool for the content creation vehicle, like how it's driving content creation like myself. Because I'm like on an individual level, and I would say that most YouTube creators are probably like me, where we're not like a big company. I don't know how much that's going to change in the future, but I think that a lot of YouTubers are still just YouTubers. It's just, usually 1 to 2 dudes in their basement. Maybe the teams have expanded for the most part, but it's still on an individual level. And with AI, obviously we talk about applying AI to big corporations on a YouTube level. That probably gets rid of a whole lot of industries. There's been this massive thing that I've started to see as of the last year or two where, AI is like translating videos into different languages. This massive industry popped up where I get like 2 emails, 3 emails every single week, sometimes every day, depending on how much these companies are pushing from AI language companies, basically asking to translate my videos into Spanish or Portuguese or into French, things like that. I've had a couple discussions with them, but I don't know. I probably should think about doing that, but yeah, I mean, these companies, they're charging an arm and a leg, and I don't really know. I'm kind of just waiting for the technology to get there where I can just do it myself, which I don't know if we're really that far off. But so that's an aspect. You have content being translated into every single language now, which it always kind of has been, but it's getting easier and easier, and the bar is getting lower and lower for everyone to be able to do it, I think, one day. I talked about how YouTube titles and tags and desktop, descriptions, not desktop, descriptions are basically just coming up with AI, super SEO focused, metadata focused, things like that to rank up as high as possible when you do searches and things like that. This isn't super AI related, but there's always the, YouTube has a new feature where you can test out 3 different thumbnails where I can upload, which I use a lot now, by the way, where, you might see one of my videos, one of my newly uploaded videos with one thumbnail, and then like an hour or 2 later, it comes up again with a new thumbnail. That has been super changing. Basically, YouTubers have been doing that for a long time, but they were doing it manually, and they were just looking at the data themselves and changing it. Now it's all automated. You give them 3 choices. I'm sure maybe one day there'll be 5 choices. And honestly, we can go even further than that and say, I wonder if AI is just going to straight up come up with the thumbnails at some point. Content creation is just becoming so automated because we have basically an algorithm choosing the best thumbnail, and you have AI kind of coming up with the best title and tags. And obviously I'm not going to do it. I haven't done it, but AI just coming up straight up with the content itself. there's always been that threat that what is that called again? The fake creators, the AI creators, the robotic, oh my gosh, VTubers. That just completely slipped my mind. I'm sure there's already VTubers that are just like AI discussions. They've already had that, but those are just going to continue to get better and better. It's interesting that we're having this topic, whatever, now, because I've actually been looking more and more into how, I guess, like, there's a lot of discussion about how AI is actually not advancing as fast as what some of the companies were thinking, and there are some roadblocks that are occurring, but it doesn't really matter. It's already here, and it's already like, I mean, if it you're talking about like it getting incredibly intelligent. The stuff that's already here is already changing, basically, content creation. So what happens in the future? Like, how does this affect the next year or two? Because to me, like I said, I've been on YouTube since 2007. So it's coming on 18 years next year. But, I mean, YouTube does more and more every day feel like a completely unrecognizable place. And it's happening faster than I feel like it happened before. Like between 2016 and 2020, there was a pretty big, the landscape of YouTube felt very different on all sorts of levels, the way content was being created. Of course, it's going to happen because of trends, but from 2020 to 2024, it really feels like YouTube is almost unrecognizable. Like just the channels, the trends, the amount of creators, the algorithm, it's to me, it feels like a completely different space. It's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. It feels a little bit scary because what does YouTube become? Is this for the best? I don't want to like contribute to like the YouTube hate that people have hated on like YouTube as a platform forever. Like creators going after YouTube because YouTube's messing up and things like that. And it's so redundant. It's like beating a dead horse. But this is like a whole different topic. Like, I think we're actually talking about, like, losing the very soul of YouTube, possibly. You know what I mean? Like, if everything is just AI content at some point, if everything's just, like, cheap and there's no real voices anymore, that's just really scary. Or there's voices, but it's completely drowned out by the amount of AI content. So, like, 50 or 75% is just this, like, slop, this digital slop versus, like, the actual physical human beings are just kind of put to the side a little bit, just 20% of the overall thing. Like, that's scary. Anyways, that's just a little bit, that's scary. The TikTok is a whole nother aspect to it. But I'm mainly YouTube is my passion. I do TikTok, but mainly just from a YouTube side. I'm scared of that soul being lost. YouTube for a while now, believe it or not, has literally seen itself, and this is going to sound funny, but as a competitor to Netflix. I know it sounds crazy because the content is so different, but that is what they ultimately want. It's going to be in a completely different format. Obviously, it's not a subscription-based model. They're not going to, you can pay for something like YouTube Premium, but overall, it'll function more like kind of a TV sort of way where it's free, but with ads. And if you want to get rid of the ads, then you pay. Netflix is all about, paying. Isn't there a model now on Netflix where you can pay a little bit less but still see ads? But that's what they want to do. And if you look at the direction that Netflix goes in, I mean, Netflix has been doing this for a long time. This has been their goal. I think they finally achieved it. Like, they don't really want to rely on any outside media. They just want to be their own studio. They want to produce literally everything. They want to make all their own shows. They make all their own movies. That way they control their rights, because obviously in the early days of Netflix, they did rely too much on other people's content, whether it was owned by like NBC or just other massive Lionsgate, other producers. And then once people started ripping it off of Netflix and putting it on their own streaming platform, they knew that was going to happen. They had to make their own stuff. They had to make their own catalog. The problem with that, in my opinion, when it comes to Netflix, I don't even have a Netflix subscription, and I don't really want to, is Netflix, I feel like, sucks. Like, it's so rare that Netflix, I feel like, comes out with a new thing. Like, when was the last time I heard like of a really big Netflix show blowing up? Like, years ago, I felt like there was every 6 months, there was like a really big Netflix show. And it's like, dang, it's kind of been a minute since I've heard about like a Netflix show that's like taken the world by storm. I think they just produce so much slop. Like I feel anyone that watches Netflix frequently, I'm like, man, it's just so much trash on Netflix now, and I'm worried that I feel like YouTube's already going in that direction. Even though, to be honest, I still feel like YouTube has a bit more soul than Netflix. Like Netflix feels like actually overly produced slop, whereas at least there's a body and a human being behind the YouTube stuff. So there's still like creators that I just like as an individual. So even if they're making whatever, it doesn't matter what type of content they're making. If as long as it's their voice that's talking, as long as it's them showing their own personality, I'll be there to watch. Netflix doesn't feel like that. It's like overly produced, scripted. Blah. So hopefully YouTube doesn't ever go that direction. But again, I think that's the reason why YouTube is it's the most popular website still on earth. It is for the personalities and the people. And I just hope my rant today is about like, I hope that AI doesn't replace that. You know what I mean? Because that's like the biggest thing is, as just a YouTube fan, I don't want to see AI completely replace personalities. And in a way, it kind of already is, like I talked about, with the way that AI is helping with thumbnails and titles and metadata. And, an aspect of an aspect to a creator is the way they brand the video, is a way that they sell the content itself, the way they make their thumbnails, the way they do their YouTube like that is a part of their overall brand. There's those creators that like don't do any branding, and that is their brand, is that they don't care about doing a good title or doing great thumbnails. And with AI technology getting as good as it's getting, it's like, oh, it's going to remove a little bit of the soul already from just the surface level. And my fear is that it's, the AI will just replace, obviously, the personalities. That's the biggest thing. But we'll see what happens. I'm a little scared for the future. Time will tell, I think, next year, with the way that things are speeding up and the way things are evolving in this technology. We'll see by the end of next year, by 2025, what the YouTube landscape is really feeling like.